We're talking today about the new digital dawn for the ground segment business. What does that mean to you?
Well, for me, that means actually three things. So the first one, as you said, is a response to the evolutions that are happening on the space segment side. So we all know we're moving into a multi-orbit world, satellites becoming much more flexible, much more dynamic than they used to be. But you can only realize the full potential of that new space segment if you have the right ground capabilities. So we really need to evolve into a fully flexible and dynamic ground segment. And that means, to a certain extent, digitizing. And that's the second point, is really leveraging the capabilities from the cloud, from virtualization, from digitizing interfaces towards the antennas. So to really make that system fully flexible so that it can scale up and down, just like the satellites have the capability to scale and to move bandwidth around. And the third element is is related to the telco and IT conversions. I think we come from a world where satellite communication systems have been always very proprietary. So they're based on proprietary technologies, proprietary network stacks, proprietary NMS. And we're moving into a world now where things are getting more standardized. Our customers are asking that the satellite communication systems can be integrated in a more terrestrial ecosystem, so no longer a standalone system, but something that can be managed next to potential other networks, terrestrial networks, and finding synergies there and making sure that it all behaves as one seamless ecosystem. So these are, for me, like the three key pillars of that new digital dawn.
Frederik, we'll give you the last word on this particular question of getting there from our non-standard, non-hardware-based business to a future.
I think we need to look first what brings most value to our customers, and integrating our platforms into the terrestrial ecosystem, for instance, supporting a 5G core integration offers a lot of value. Having the 5G new radio over satellite is something that will only add value if a lot of players in the ecosystem have adopted that, and that you can get really to that interoperability. But we also know, we've been doing some testing with 5G new radio, for instance, that there are certain challenges with that still. And we have all been working on optimizing our waveforms for over satellite communication. So we don't need to throw that overboard from day one. I think moving into a more hybrid setup where you allow for integration into a 5G core network, but still use optimized technologies to really optimize that satellite communication part is like an intermediate step. And the same thing with virtualization. So you can decide to virtualize everything and move everything into the cloud. But we know, for instance, that for certain applications which are high throughput and always on, that having still some dedicated hardware is the most efficient thing to have, because otherwise, from a cost perspective, it becomes very expensive. So there are some steps to take to get there. So it is quite disruptive. It's changing business models from CapEx to as a service, from proprietary to standardized, but there's a gradual path towards it, and we also, of course, want to bring our customers forward. We don't want them to swap out everything they have. We want to make that gradual as well.
We've talked about incentives, how we have to be incentivized to be doing this. So let's put on our business development hats for a moment and think about how is this new digital dawn, as we've defined it, going to help the ground segment operator win business, retain business, improve profitability, or create new revenue streams? What's in it for them to go down this path with us in terms of the technology? And I'm tired of it going up and down. Does somebody want to address that? And we'll make sure everybody gets a voice.
But you know what? I'm just going to give one example, and then the others can also say something. I think one example is, of course, that the operators will not have to make all those investments, CapEx-intensive investments. So, like we said before, we're moving from offering equipment to offering technology and offering that as a service. So I think that that's a big shift, and that enables a lot of our customers to accelerate their time to market, to limit the investments they need to make, the upfront investments they need to make, and to actually have a better way to move and to adopt the new technologies, the new latest technologies as they come along, and no longer needing to swap out boxes and put new boxes in place. So I think that's just one example of what it brings and how it will change the business models of our customers.
Except
just to that, so indeed, a lot of technology that we used to run on the ground is moving to space with those inter-satellite links, regenerative payloads. But that obviously means that we as a ground segment, we also need to continue innovating. And what those new systems clearly bring is that there's a huge need to orchestrate that. It's a very complex dynamic with all those moving satellites, moving inter-satellite links. And they definitely have a desire to move whatever they can still to the ground, because you don't want to consume too much space resources. I mean, all the power you get from the solar panels,
power up there, exactly. Yeah.
You want to use to send the signals down. So it is a technology shift in a sense that we're doing less in terms of, let's say, waveform and the real communication part, although you still need to uplink, of course, from the ground to those satellites. But it's the orchestration, it's the dynamics, is how to optimize such a network. So the efficiency is maybe shifting away from the pure physical air efficiency, but more like the efficiency of how to optimally use a network which is that complex as it is.
Indeed.